Hi, welcome to the Sheepish Podcast, episode 11. Today is Tuesday, January 29th, 2013. My name is Holly, and I'm your host. Welcome, everybody. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. And for those new people joining us, thank you for giving me a shot. Welcome. I hope you like what you see. Um, so today you can see that the lighting is a little different. I was feeling lazy and didn't want to drag my lamp over to sit in front of me because that's kind of heavy. So I threw open the windows. It's a little earlier than I normally record. It's about quarter to 10, which is pushing it when it comes to going to work. Oops. Um, but it's a little earlier than I normally record because today's a late day for me and I don't go into work for a little while. So thought I'd knock out the podcast. I've briefly thought about recording during the game tonight and in between periods, but yeah, I know me. That wouldn't work. I'm either going to be in a really good mood or a foul mood with that, so I don't want you guys to see that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started by welcoming the new people to our group. We are up to 108 members in the group, so thank you very much for joining. Um, Welcome to Cindy from New York, Angela from Virginia, Knitted Peach, Carrie from Florida, Julie from Manassas, Tiffany from Maryland, Anna from Wisconsin, Ekaterin for Love from Germany, and Danny from Virginia via way of Ohio. And finally, so welcome to everybody. I'm glad that you joined. Um, so let's go ahead and get started with with the current roster, what's on my needles right now. You're only going to see two of the three projects because the projects haven't changed, but Celestorium has not been touched this week. So, excuse me, take what you saw last week, imagine that in your mind's eye. It's still in that state. Yeah, yeah, that happens. Um, so let's actually show what actually had some good progress made on it this week. And that's the simple stripy sock, the hockey sock, whatever. This. Done in Hiwassee Creek Dye Works, Sassafras sock base. Let's see if I can get the color a little better on this. No, not really. That'll teach me. Set up my lamp. But this is in the Sassafras sock base in the Winter Wonderland colorway. It's lovely to knit with. I've only come across one problem spot, and that was recently in the blue. If you look at the stitches right there, I don't know if it'll actually. These stitches here, you can see that they're a little fuzzy, a little big. That's where a join was in the yarn. It looks like it was Russian joined. It's not. It doesn't feel like it's going to give or anything, but it was something that I noticed in the yarn, and it was a little bit of a surprise. But I love the yarn so much that I don't care. There's also another little place here, right in there, where you can see that the stitches are kind of wonky. I'm not exactly sure what I did to make those stitches that wonky, but when I discovered it, I was at my LYS, I was at Fiberspace getting ready to teach, and I said pretty much F that. I didn't care. I fixed what I could. I tried tightening up those stitches, and it really hasn't worked, but I don't care. I'm just happy that I have inserted my waist yarn for the heel. And so now I'm just knitting on the foot, knitting happily away on the foot. This was originally supposed to be a hockey sock. I only would knit on it during hockey. But the first few games that we've had, it didn't seem to help. So it's kind of been my go around everywhere sock. Excuse me. I apologize for the snarfliness. I'm a little stuffed up. I'm thinking it's just allergies kind of wreaking havoc, but you know. So that's the hockey sock or the stripy sock, whatever we want to call it, because it will get worked on during tonight's game at some point because I won't have the patience to work on anything else. Um, Next up is Celia. Now you might notice something a little different about Celia. Yeah, see that little, yeah, that, yeah, Celia's on waist yarn right now, even though there's a needle hanging out of it, because if you look here, yeah, this cable missing something. It's missing. Yep, this is supposed to go into there like that. I picked this up last night and knit about a row and a half on this. And I felt that there was a little bit of a snag, which I thought was unusual because these needles, these are the Hiya Sharps. These needles generally have great joins, but I didn't think too much of it until all of a sudden the needle came free in my hand. Yeah. Granted, getting this all on waist yarn has given me an opportunity to try it on, and it's huge, but it does fit where it's supposed to fit. So it's going to have that nice slouchy feel to it. Um, so I'm going to be excited to work on that. It looks really big when it's off the needles, for goodness sake. And it's showing up a little bit more purple on my monitor, at least, than it is in real life. It's definitely more of a red. Um, what I'm probably going to do later is get this back on a needle, a smaller needle, just so that way I can make sure that all of the stitches that I put onto waist yarn have been picked up properly. I'm pretty much not gonna touch this until I go back to the shop tomorrow night. I'm teaching a sweater class at the shop, and so I'll be able to pick up the needle then, and hopefully I'll get it back on. Luckily, it was the Hiya and not anything like signatures. It's made me think that I want to order signatures in size 5, but I'm holding off and being good because, yeah, I can't justify that right now. It actually moved bags. It's in my Pitaloop large wedge bag. All sorts of fun owls. It was really outgrowing the Pitaloop box bag that I had it in. It was filled to the brim. So it's still got a little room to grow. Yeah. Plus, I just love the bag. So that's all that's currently on the roster. Well, Stellastarium, but like I said, picture what you saw last week. That lovely, lovely picture. And it's in the same spot. Which means that there's still nothing on the alumni roster. Sad panda. Hopefully I'll at least get a hoe out of this week. This coming week, we'll see. Nothing in, I mean, I keep saying I'm going to, I just haven't had a chance to spin. I really need to get back to it because I don't want to lose anything that I taught myself. It kind of ties into another thing that's coming up in upcoming, but yeah, so I need to do that. A lot of time this week, well, not a lot of time, a bit of my spare time this week has been caught up in visiting an old craft that I've done. I've done this since I was a kid. Cross stitching. And I'm actually not going to show you what I'm working on. I'm going to try and play around with pictures and see if I can include a picture at the end. But if you guys watch Karen from Round the Twist, she's actually been revisiting cross stitching, and I've considered myself a closet cross stitcher for ages. Every now and then I would get something from Subversive Cross Stitch and stitch that up, and it would never go anywhere except for in my house. But Karen is working on something that was really cool. from a website called Pixie Stitches, or it's a shop on Etsy, Pixie Stitches. And I went on that site to actually find what she was working on because I loved it. It's a Louisa May Alcott related quote. And then I saw that the shop had Doctor Who and Harry Potter themed cross stitch patterns. Yeah. Luckily, if you're only buying the patterns, though, they're really inexpensive. Um, Going out and getting all of the colors, though, that still inexpensive, but I remember I hit up my local Michaels and I didn't have any coupons or anything because I try not to shop at Michaels because it drives me batty. Nothing against big craft stores like that. It's just that it drives me batty. And then you go there and you find people who have no clue what they're talking about or what they're selling. Yeah, my little soapbox rant. But yeah, I went there and I picked up the floss that I would need for all of the different, for all three projects. I'm only missing, I think, two colors. And I'm looking at the prices going, 37 cents? I remember when this was under a quarter. Shows you how long I've been doing it. Um, but yeah, so I've started on a little project. I actually use that as my picture of the day. I'm doing a picture of the day, but themed by month. Because if I give myself a 365 project, I won't do it. However, if I do it month by month, I have a better chance of finishing. And if somebody gives me the prompt, then I have to start thinking like that. So I used one of those, or I've used one of my cross stitching yesterday. The prompt was through. And again, if I can figure out how to do it, I'll include a photo at the end of the post. But yeah, it's been fun revisiting that. It's been unusual because I'm all of the materials are different. Like I don't have any of my old materials or any of my good old materials. So everything is just different and I'm kind of relearning it even though I already know how to do it. I'm not the neatest cross stitcher in the world, but it makes me happy sometimes and for delightfully geeky stuff, yeah, I'm good. So that brings us to or not upcoming, it brings us to, oh, why am I blanking? Stash enhancement, scouting report. Wow, I am blanking. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, so this weekend, or actually this past week, was my friend Michelle's birthday, and she bought herself a birthday gift, a new car, which is awesome, and it's very cute. And what do you do when you have a new car? You have to take a trip. You have to road trip. So Saturday morning, we got up, we got in her car, and we road tripped down to Richmond because why? Because we can. And we visited the Yarn Lounge on West Carey Street. I was actually pretty good. I was very restrained because sorry about the crinkling of the bag. Sorry. I was actually very restrained because I didn't want to spend a whole heck of a lot. If they had had a sweaters quantity in some of the Mad Tosh sock in a color of the Mad Tosh sock I was looking at, I would have gotten it, but they didn't, which was good for me. Yay. So one of the first things that I got was this. I don't know if you guys can see it well. It is a new scent by Eucalan called Rapture, and it was created in collaboration with Kristen Omdahl. And I'm a big fan of the Eucalan. The Eucalan's wool wash. It doesn't bother me unless I'm using the eucalyptus version because I'm allergic to eucalyptus. But there's just something about this, and this is jasmine scented. I remember listening to an interview that she did with Heather on Craftlit, and apparently they went back and forth trying to get this specific jasmine scent that grows in her garden. this smells fabulous. I kind of want a bigger bottle of it. They only have the small ones. So yeah, I'm excited to do some wool washing so that way I can actually have some knits that smell good. Not that they don't normally smell good, but smell like jasmine. Because jasmine's one of my favorite scents. Oh. And then while I was there, I got this. Wow, this is really washed out. This is the Malabrigo Arroyo in the Potion colorway, 139. And while you can't really see all of the colors because they're kind of washed out, you've got some browns going into reds, and then green and blues going into some beautiful teals. This is going to be a hat of some sort. I'm going to have to find a DK weight hat. Or is it? Yeah, it's DK weight. So I'm going to have to find a DK weight hat and knit something out of it because it's beautiful and lovely and I fell in love with it. So, and then I got a new to me dyer. It is, I believe it's Honeybee. Could be wrong. In the Eucalyptus colorway. It's a fingering weight, 400 yards. This is 100% 2-ply superwash merino. Or I guess I should have said 100% superwash merino and a 2-ply. Again, this is kind of graying out, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous green. And you're going from very light shades of green into the super dark shades. And it's kind of a bluish green, but it's not teal. So yeah, I figured these will probably become some Cabley socks. I actually have a pair in my queue that, well, they're in my library too. The Molly Brown socks that are pretty heavily cabled. I need to see if this is enough. It's about 400 yards, so I think it is. And if not, I'll just make them shorter. But I think that they'll look gorgeous in this. So that's pretty much it for stash enhancement. This is a quicker episode. I'm kind of zipping through. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. But yeah, so let's go on to miscellaneous. What's making me happy? First off, I have been meaning to do this all month, and I keep putting it off for some reason or another because bad me. But I've been meaning to wish all of our January birthdays happy birthday. So have it printed out here because I need this stuff to remind me. So have Faith, whose birthday was on January 5th, Sony AFD, whose birthday was on the 6th, Just Run Knit on the 7th, Traveling Knitter on the 22nd, PCT Knitter, who's on the 28th, and Mary Love's birthday is coming up tomorrow on the 30th. So happy birthday to everybody in the group who's celebrating a January birthday. I hope you get lots of fibery goodness, or at least have just a really good day. So yeah, what's making me happy this week? There are a few things. You guys can see wearing my cap sweatshirt. It's been we're just getting into hockey talk. There are other things that make me happy, I promise. But yeah, it was a trying week when it came to hockey. We had some really bad losses. We had a very close loss on Friday. And then on Sunday, the tide turned. Yay! And it was a home win. I'm happy. But I'm also a very superstitious hockey fan. So anything that I was wearing during those losses are tainted. Yeah. Crazy. I know. But yeah, anything's tainted. So every bit of Caps gear I have, with the exception of one shirt, and that doesn't fit me, and this sweatshirt had a loss to it. Almost all the red that I had a loss to it, and so it's getting washed. But the sweatshirt, I was wearing this on Sunday. I chalk it up to sweatshirt. I made myself some food, some very, very nummy Brussels sprouts and with bacon and garlic. And if you're on Plurk, you saw me Plurk a picture of that. And if you're not on Plurk and you follow Sheepish Podcast, you'll be able to see everything that I put on Plurk because I have it feeding into there. But yeah, so I did that and I had a beer. I'm thinking the combination of those things helped because, of course, what I do at home impacts the team. Right. I know. Crazy. But yeah, so it's part of the ritual. Tonight, I'm working late. So I will actually be streaming the game. I'm actually moderating a webinar tonight. So I'll be streaming the game in between when I need to speak. Oh, sorry, that's my phone. Yeah, so in between when I need to speak. I did it last week and it didn't help too much. I'm doing it this week, but I'm wearing Lucky sweatshirt. I'm actually taking a cardigan so I can take off the sweatshirt and wear the shirt underneath and wear a cardigan for work today. But later today, cardigan's going off. This is going on again. Yeah. Superstitious. I know. So yeah, that's what's making me happy this week. We've got a game tonight. Hopefully it'll be another win. We really need all the points we can get. Somebody tweeted out a picture yesterday that they took of their iPhone screen. Excuse me, my nose is itchy. Of them asking Siri who the worst team in the league was, and Siri came back with the Caps. It was funny when it was happening to other teams. I know, bad. Me, bad, yes. It wasn't so funny when it was my team, so yeah. I'd like to get out of the basement and stay out of the basement, so we really kind of need a win tonight. But yeah, so that's the hockey happy. Yay! Also, what's making me happy is this went around yesterday because yesterday was the 200th anniversary of Pride and Prejudice. Yay! So happy 200th anniversary, Pride and Prejudice. It's one of my all-time favorite books. It's my favorite Jane Austen by far, but it's one of my all-time favorite books and one that I would take with me on a desert island. I actually own a few versions of it, but one of my favorites is the annotated version. Yeah, the annotated Pride and Prejudice. And as you can see, it's thick. I'm a quick reader, and especially with books that I know and love, like Pride and Prejudice. But with this book, even though I've read this version before, I still find myself reading the notes. One of my favorite things about this is that there's a chronology. So you can tell that, let's see, in mid to late April, Darcy frequently sees Elizabeth over a 10-day period. He's been in the area approximately a week when he starts seeing her on a Monday. He proposes on Thursday and leaves 2 days later. You actually get a timeline of what's going on and when. My geeky little heart just screams in joy. And then you've got, oops, here, on this side. So on this side, you've got all the text. And on this side, and yes, I fold over my, bad me, but I like a dog-eared book. But over on this side, you've got explanations or definitions of stuff. So, like here, you stop with which marked as intelligence, taste, or as good manners, and it gives the account of this contrasts sharply with Darcy's last encounter with members of Elizabeth's family, the ball at Netherfield, and gives a whole explanation. Again, I've read this book so many times since I was probably 14 when I had to read it for an AP English class. I know the book, I know what they're talking about, but I still read all of the notes. There is a version of the annotated Persuasion. I don't know if there are any other versions of it, but it's really kind of nice to be able to, if in the moment you don't want to think about what it means, or if you want a little bit more of an explanation as to what's going on or some of the background, something that you may have missed. This is a good reference for that. And actually, in one of the either Jane Austen read-along groups or the Pride and Prejudice fans group, somebody brought up a question on Charlotte Lucas and her before Mr. Collins, how many brothers and sisters she has, and this gives a good reasoning for why she might be one of many. I think she is one of many. I think that's actually given in the book, but that there are a number of children between her and her younger sister Mariah, or a number of boys. So yeah, that makes my geeky little heart so happy. Um, Also, in the vein of Pride and Prejudice, if you guys are fans of Pride and Prejudice and haven't been watching the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, oh my gosh, go now watch. It's a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice in a podcast vlog format. It's obviously set in the modern day, but it's not trite. There are definitely liberties taken with the story, but the major plot points, it's interesting to see how they get there. And I wasn't sure that I was going to like it within after the first few episodes, but by the fifth episode I was sucked in. And you meet the Bennet family, and the Bennet family is structured a little differently than in the book. The character of Lydia, the actress who plays her, is phenomenal. One of the things that I've been saying over the last couple of days, because everybody's been talking about it because 200th anniversary of Pride and Prejudice, she makes Lydia a character that you have empathy for, that you feel for. In addition to the Lizzie Bennet diaries, Lydia has her own diaries. And you kind of see where in the Lizzie Bennet diaries that you start watching Lydia's diaries. And when you watch them, Lizzie, Lydia, Lizzie, Lydia, Lizzie, and you just kind of go back and forth, you kind of see where Lydia's point of view is, where she's coming from, the character that she's created, which is something that you don't get with Pride and Prejudice. You don't see Lydia's character. You're just made to believe, because that's what Jane Austen wanted you to believe, that she was a wicked, wicked girl who ran off. Who ran off and eloped, but didn't elope, didn't actually get married until forced. Yeah, so it's an interesting take on this. And even though you know exactly how it's going to end, or how it should end, because we all know the story of Pride and Prejudice. Oh my goodness. Even though we know the story of Pride and Prejudice, there are still spoilers to this that I cannot say because of how they've decided to take this. And there was much squeeing and fangirling for me. So yeah. Yeah. Excellent video, and I definitely recommend, if you love Pride and Prejudice, give it a shot, because it's just a great retelling. The videos are anywhere from like 2 minutes up to 10 minutes at the most, and there have maybe been a handful of those. They're generally around the 5 to 6 minute range. So when they come out in real time, Lizzie's videos come out Monday and Thursday, and Lydia's come out Tuesday and Friday. So they generally come out around lunchtime for me, so I can just go ahead and watch while I'm at lunch. So yeah. Speaking of blogs, podcasts, I've actually been watching a couple of new ones, or new to me ones. There's actually a brand new one called Fibertown, and it's Fibre Town, by Chain of Fools on Ravelry and on Plurk. She just did her first episode earlier this week, I think, or over the weekend. And it's a really, really good it's a really good first episode. You get to learn a lot about her and about her knitting and crocheting. She's multi-craftual. So yeah, definitely give her a shot. And Student Knitter, who's studentknitter.blogspot.com. Studentknits.blogspot.com. Sorry, I had it pulled up. And Fibertown is fibertown.blogspot.com. Um, but Student Knitter, I've been going through her 41st episode. Like I said, new to me. And she's just really sweet. She's British. She has an accent. It makes me happy. um, but she seems really sweet and very personable. So I've been giving her a shot, and I really like her. I've also been I'm still working on getting through the all the old episodes of Knitting in Circles. I'm up to I'm in the 60s somewhere. It's post Knitting in the Mitten. So yeah, I'm around there. And I'm determined to catch up. I've been watching at night when I knit in bed because that's what I do. I will watch occasionally if there's, some time during, dead time between the end of the workday and webinars. I'll generally take a small break and watch. So I've been knocking out a few episodes that way. Uh, it's been interesting watching Amy and Darren evolve as podcasters and as knitters. I mean, Amy's a fabulous knitter anyway, but watching Darren evolve as a knitter has been very cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm almost caught up. I know that they're just in the 70s. It'll be a while before I actually catch up, because I insist on stopping and watching podcasts that I've them already caught up on, so I can stay current on that, and then I go back and watch some more. Um, but yeah, and I've made a few notes of podcasts that I want to check out and see, check out and see. So yeah, I'll be doing a lot of podcast watching. So I'll let you know which ones I like, and if you're not already watching them, then I'll let you can give them a shot, or give me suggestions for podcasts. I would love to do that. I mean, like I have enough time in the day, whatever. But I love being able to just open up my iPad and just pull up a podcast and watch every once in a while. And I will be caught up with some of these podcasts soon enough. So I always love good suggestions. So feel free to post them in the comments. I'm trying to think, what else is there? I think that's it for this week. Thank you again so much for joining me. If you need to reach me this week, I am sheepishpodcast@gmail.com. I am Sheepish Podcast on both Twitter and on Plurk. And I am Knit Girl on Ravelry, spelled conventionally with no numbers. Yes, I've been on Ravelry a long time. So yeah, have a great week. I hope that everything goes well for you guys. Go Caps. Go other teams that I don't hate. So for Emily, yeah, go Canes. Basically, I don't, yeah, Pens, Flyers. Yeah, the Pennsylvania team's not fans of. There are a few others out there, but those are the ones that are universally known for me. Sorry if you're a Pens or a Flyers fan. I like people that love them, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling. Yeah, have a great week. I'm going to try and put pictures on the back end of this evening when I start editing, because, yeah, I'm not going to have any time to edit before I go to work. Have a great week. Bye.